We offer complimentary services for cancer survivors and clients with alopecia, or just being able to help someone in their transformation and seeing the emotional impact of what eyebrow tattoos can do for them is really insane.
Has your life, your dreams been interrupted? Good news. It is possible to reinvent our lives. People are doing it every day, and some are brave enough to share the struggles, disappointments, and challenges. If you are looking for a new beginning, a do-over, or to rediscover your passion, maybe even find a new one, then grab a cup of coffee and let's talk. Interrupted, Act 2, Reinventing Your Legacy, with your host, Coach Laurie.
She's a business marketing coach, and she is all about permanent makeup, which I don't know if you noticed, but I do have some permanent makeup. So, welcome, Tanny Diep.
Hi, Laurie, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I work in radio, and I remember my co-host, we were talking about tattoos, and he was like, well, you don't have any tattoos. And I'm like, yeah, well, I actually do. And I don't know why, but he just could not believe that I would have a tattoo. And then I'm like, it's my eyebrows. So tell us what you do and what you love about it, Tanny.
I've been a permanent makeup artist for over 8 years and also an educator. So I've been teaching for about 7 years. I teach the very natural, we're known for our very natural style in hair strokes and shading. So we started out with microblading years ago, and now we've advanced to the newest techniques, which are all done with machine and needle. Very similar to a traditional tattoo, but we work in a more superficial layer. I love working with the people. I still see clients and I still teach, and I'm also a business mentor. So I coach other beauty professionals, not just permanent makeup artists, hairstylists, nail technicians, lash artists, estheticians, on how to build their business using our business model and strategies that we've applied to our business over the years. Mm-hmm.
That's so great, because I think that is a hard thing when people go to school to do the thing they love and they don't necessarily get the business training.
That's absolutely right. So teaching the technical skills as well. I try to incorporate marketing because it is part of my background. My background was in sales and marketing, and I worked in fashion for almost, 10 years. And my whole life, I've always worked in sales. And I know that if you can sell, you will always have a job. Sales and marketing is the most important thing, other than the product for any business. And it's true, there's not enough education around it.
And a lot of people are like, I don't want to do the business. I don't want to do the marketing. I just want to do my thing. But when they're starting, they can't really afford to hire someone. So I just think I love what you're doing, because I feel like it's so important. I mean, I'm a small business owner, and I don't love wearing all the hats, but I've had to learn that they're very important.
Yes, absolutely. So we help coach them on how to, build a professional online presence, how to create content that will actually book clients and not just create a pretty portfolio, especially these days with social media and all of the other artists that you're competing with. And if you don't have a personal brand, then you're not going to get as far as you want to go.
Yeah, that's so good. So you've been doing this for about 8 years. And what's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing, honestly, is there's a few different parts of each of the things that I do. Service-wise, I love connecting with people, and we've gotten to a place where we offer complimentary services for cancer survivors and clients with alopecia, or just being able to help someone in their transformation and seeing the emotional impact of what eyebrow tattoos can do for them is really insane. So tattooing someone, them seeing it, and then feeling so excited and happy that they have hair or something that looks like hair on their face, and they start crying or they get really emotional. I've had a lot of moments like that with clients, and that is probably one of the most fulfilling things, because you feel like you really helped someone rebuild their confidence, gain their self-esteem again. In teaching, I love seeing the students succeed, being able to pass on what we're doing and share the knowledge and continue to create moments like that for themselves, build their own careers and support their families with it. So it's really amazing to see the success as well. And same thing when we see the wins. I just love helping people and love making people feel good and being able to share what we've been able to do.
I love that. So we always talk about interruptions. Did you have an interruption?
I think I've had many, especially since we survived COVID, going through this. And that was a major interruption because I started my business in 2018, 2019. I felt like it was a different time. The world was different. We were happier. We had more money. We were more carefree. And when COVID happened, because we were a service-based industry, I had to shut down my business for 6 months. And I was pregnant at the time. Luckily, I had my educational platform to fall back on. So we were selling a lot of online training because everyone so bored, like wanted to do something. If you weren't baking sourdough bread, you were learning a new skill, you know? So that was major. And it was hard because again, I was pregnant. And then when they kept opening us up, shutting us down, opening us up because they couldn't figure it out, we were working low key, like my staff were working in the studio with the shades down and like just in case, like, being sneaky about it. One day the health department came out and made us stop everything we were doing. I wasn't in the studio, but one of the girls was there. She was telling me about it. And I was like, thank goodness you weren't like mid tattoo. She was getting the client prepared, but the client had to leave. She had to shut the studio. And so it was really tough when that was our livelihood. And I'm sure so many other people can relate. So that was huge.
Let me guess, you've been thinking about starting a podcast for what, a year now? Meanwhile, people with half your experience are out there becoming the authority online just because they hit record. And that's why I created Podcraft. It's the membership for women who know they have something worth saying, but want help with the tools, the tech, the strategy, and what actually to say, and maybe even how to say it. You get podcast tools, coaching, twice monthly office hours with me, Laurie Hardie, because it's really not about you being seen, but it's about your story having an impact. Let's just stop overthinking it and start podcasting.
So it was really tough when that was our livelihood. And I'm sure so many other people can relate. So that was huge. And then afterwards, because everybody's on Zoom calls and working remotely and they're looking at their faces on screen, we got really, really busy after we started opening up again. And then the year right after COVID, the government almost shut my business down. Isn't that insane? Yeah. There's a bureau from the government called the Bureau of Post-Secondary Education. And do you remember those programs like ITT Tech and DeVry? And so they governed those types of schools. And since I had an educational platform and we were teaching classes, there's a threshold of how much you can charge for a class before you have to get approved by them. It wasn't until years later I found out that it was a competitor that kind of went around and told on everybody that was teaching, because it was not just myself. It was maybe a dozen other permanent makeup artists that got fined, threatened to shut down their business, all because of a price issue. In my case, they fined me, they threatened to shut down my business, shut down every piece of social media, website, phone number, anything that had to do with my business at all. I had to stop teaching, and then I had to kind of work this out with them. But they said if I wanted to fight it, I could appeal it and apply for an administrative hearing, which I did. I had to get a lawyer, and that hearing didn't happen for another year. Until the hearing happened, I didn't have to comply with their complaint. So I just went about my business, but I was sitting on pins and needles for a whole year thinking like, what if I do have to shut down my business? I'm the sole provider for my family. This is everything to me. And it was really scary, but we went through the whole year of waiting. I had my administrative hearing, and it was a Zoom call with my lawyer and I, Zoom call with the judge, Zoom call with the other party. And in the end, we were able to fight it. They said at the end, it was an 8-hour hearing. And they said, after this, the lawyers have to submit their final documents and their recaps. And it took another 2 months until I could hear the verdict of what was going to happen to me. Even right before the meeting, the judge said, I encourage you both to try to settle. And they wanted to fine me $25,000. They were like, okay, we can reduce the fine to $10,000, but you still have to shut down your business. I said, why do I have to shut down my business? Who am I bothering here? Like, what is happening? After the hearing, I got 2 months later. I'm still nervous because I don't know what's going to happen. They sent me a stack of letters in the mail about the whole case, and I flipped through everything, and at the end of it, it said case dismissed. I didn't have to pay the fine. I didn't have to shut down my business. They proved that I wasn't harming anybody, and it was kind of a loophole misunderstanding. And it was a shakedown, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, I knew so many other artists that had even bigger fines and had even bigger issues than I did. I always tried to do my best, and I'm a good teacher. I'm committed to my students. I'm not like, a sham academy, just taking people's money like a fly-by-night school, nothing like that. So I did prove that I was being very responsible. I wasn't doing anything wrong, and it was just a pricing issue. But there was a loophole that we found in their system where I was able to have the case dismissed. So
Oh
that
my
was
gosh.
major. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. But also, how did you navigate that? You're a new mom, right?
I was a new mom, fresh baby, and then I had just, after I had my baby, 3 months later, I went back to work after 2 months postpartum because of COVID, and we were so behind. And then I lost my father on Christmas Day. It was just like one thing after another, COVID, and then I had my baby, I lost my father, and then I get hit with this fine, and then I'm waiting this whole year. I'm dealing with all sorts of crazy things and just kept praying to God. And, I said, if this is meant for me, if this is my calling, like, please give me a sign, please help me. And I just did the best that I could with everything that I was doing. And I was just doing everything right, trying my best. And in the end, I got really lucky. My lawyer was really good and he was very confident. I was not so, I didn't know what to expect, but he was very confident. I remember at one point in the hearing, he like yelled at the other lawyer and then he whispered over to me, he's like, I think we won. And I was like, oh no, okay. It was a really just heart twisting moment, period, in my career. And that was probably about 3 or 4 years in. When we made it past that, we were like, woo, okay.
Yeah.
We can survive anything at this point. That was the moment.
If somebody wants to work with you, like business wise, it's all on Zoom, right? So it doesn't matter where they're located.
That's correct. So I work with a mentor of mine who's my business partner now, and we built this marketing coaching program together about 4 years ago. I saw that there was a gap in the education. I knew that people were learning the skills and then they would go out there and they didn't know what to do with their business. So we kind of built just an online program at first, and then it bloomed into like a one-on-one thing. And then now it's evolved into like a full coaching system with a, part done for you, part done with you, with coaching calls every week. And we have an archive of like all the recorded coaching calls we have. So it's turned into something really amazing. And we've helped, hundreds of artists go from making $1,000 to $2,000 a month to $10,000 a month. That's usually everyone's goal, and getting a little bit of that freedom back. So we do all of our coaching online virtually. So we have clients from all over the US. We've had some from like Jamaica. We have some from the UK, and it's pretty cool, really cool to see how it's grown. They can find me on Instagram at Sway Brows, or our website, swaybrows.com. And probably through Instagram is the easiest way to connect with me. We have multiple accounts there that we have different aspects of the business. So I do brows. I have my team page for my artists. We do cold plasma treatments for the skin as well. That helps like with skin rejuvenation, tightening. And then the Beauty Pro Success System is the marketing program. And then we have the Sway Academy. So everything all wrapped up into one. You can find it all at swaybrows.com.
Tell me a little more about the cold plasma.
Cold plasma. So the cold plasma is a really cool technique. It uses a non-thermal plasma energy. So it's not like a blood plasma. Oftentimes people are thinking, the other day I had a client ask me, so whose blood are you pumping into everybody? And I was like, mine, of course. And she says, oh my God, really? And I said, no, we're not using any blood. This is like plasma energy. Imagine like a lightning bolt. We use a device and it has a needle tip. When the device gets close enough to the skin, it creates a little spark. So I tell everyone, it's like I take a little tiny lightning bolt and I jolt your skin, signals to your cells to rapidly build collagen and elastin, because that's what we lose as we age, which causes the sagging, the wrinkles, all the things, fighting gravity. But rebuilding collagen rapidly helps regenerate the skin surface, helps tighten and firm the skin, and lightens dark spots, and helps with wrinkles. And even like we do an advanced lift treatment that can give you like a tightening, like a non-surgical facelift, very gentle, very natural, no injections. the demand is growing. I also teach these classes. The demand is growing for the services and the classes. And, I used to have severe acne scarring on my face, and I've done about 3 sessions, and I feel like my skin has never looked better.
Oh,
So
it looks awesome. I would never have guessed that.
thank you.
Tanny, this has not only been educational, but it's been really nice to chat with you. So if people want to come and get your services, they're
Yeah,
going to have to be in the Los Angeles area.
we are in the South Los Angeles area. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And before we go, I love to ask this question. What is it? When I saw your website, it's like, it was about brows, kind of. But then as I talked to you, it's about marketing and business. And then we talk about this interruption where you've had to really keep your chin up through some really difficult times. So with all of that, what is it you really want us to know?
We as women, especially, are so strong and have to go through so much with the weight of the world on our shoulders all the time. And nobody really knows what you're going through. But when you believe in something that you're doing and believe that you're making a difference and believe that this is your calling, I don't think any fear can really take that away from you. That if you are determined to make a difference in the world and help someone else, and whatever vessel it is that you've been blessed by God and that you can work through, focusing on that, you will always have, I feel like, a hand to guide you and support you, that nothing is ever permanent. Situations can always change, but it's up to you to really believe that it can change. As long as you're doing everything right and you know that you are being a good human being, you can always do anything. Push past that devastating interruption and keep your chin up and, focus on the bigger picture. Things will always work out the way that it should. And those lessons in the moment might feel like something so detrimental, but at the end of the day, it was something in your path that was meant to be there to make you be stronger for what it's preparing you for in the future. Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm still here, that I'm still in business, and that I get to connect with lovely people like you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So many of the things that we go through, we would never choose.
No.
And we'd never even say we're glad they're happened. But then also there are things that come later, even if it is devastation or grief or whatever. So that was really beautiful.
If you love this podcast, here's a big ask. Will you share with your friends and family, subscribe, give us a review, and a 5-star rating so that others looking to reinvent their lives will be able to get the help they're looking for? Thank you in advance.